Widnes was founded by a returning World War I hero. One of his early pioneer players became a hero in the Second World War. In January 2022, 2 commemorative plaques were unveiled at Heath Road, the home of Widnes Rugby Union Football Club.
Good afternoon everybody, we're here for the unveiling of the plaques. We want to thank Chris Stapleton and Tony Miller of the Ton Wilkinson VC Statue Group, and they have made the donations which have funded the plaques which you will see shortly. They are now going to be unveiled by John Powell, Club Trustee, Life Member and Wade Deacon Allboy.
Go on.
Chief sponsor.
You're in front of the plaque. These are the 2 gentlemen who provided the funds and information behind the plaques.
It all started January 2010. I was suffering from depression, severe depression, and wife suggested, why don't you say what you said you want to do years ago, and that's the statue for Alfred Jones. He's the only man from Runcorn who was awarded the Victoria Cross in World War I. Now, I knew a little bit about him, but I had to do some research. And during my research, as you do, it expands. I found out Widnes had 2 Victoria Cross holders. I thought, oh, I don't try to loop them up, right. So Todge's first, World War I, Mossad second, he's World War I, and Wilkinson, he's World War II. Within 2.5 years, I personally raised near £55,000 in grants and going to donation going places, and that's to retire from that due to ill health, but I knew the money was collected for the statue, and those that took over carried on and finished it off. So we said, right, tell you what, let's do plaques. We'd already put 2 blue plaques up at 6 Vine Street for Tom Mottershead, VC DCM, and one in Mersey Road for Tom Wilkinson, VC. And that's where the idea of the plaques come from them 2, the blue plaques. So let's take it a bit further. So Chris said, what are we going to do? So we'll have to research. So he gets his head out. But then I said, tell you what, we'll do a forgotten group.
It's very difficult to find somewhere.
And where people can see them as well, and appreciate them.
What we want to know is how you came across this Tap Jones and your search up and down Birchfield Road. Frank Lawless has been up and down Birchfield Road with me.
So what people don't know about that family in that book I did.
Birchfield Road is probably the best known thoroughfare in Widnes. Prominent are the cemetery, railway station, main park and former grammar school. This school, now called Wade Deacon, provides the link between our 2 heroes, both of whom coincidentally lived on Birchfield Road.
I'm Frank Lawless. I chair Halton Heritage Partnership. A couple of years ago we recognised that when you walk through Victoria Park in Widnes and go past the cenotaph, all the unfortunate people who were killed in the First World War are recognised there. But people who won gallantry medals and actually came back are not. We've published a booklet called Halton's Gallant Heroes. Alfred Jones actually won the DSO, Distinguished Service Order, and the Military Cross because he was a surgeon in the First World War. Came back to live in Widnes, and he and his wife actually had 4 sons, one which will be referred to later on, and he eventually became medical officer for Widnes.
Dr Jones is featured here with fellow local dignitaries as the Way Deacon event in the early 1930s. Assistant head at the time was Mr Alfred Salt, a fellow Military Cross holder. This picture shows him pre-World War I. Widnes-born Alfred Salt of the 113th Infantry Brigade Welsh Division won the Military Cross in the final push of World War I as the Allied troops attacked the much vaunted Hindenburg Line in the Cambrai area. 6 lines of barbed wire and heavy artillery prevented this final push. Al Salt had been a teacher at Sims Cross School from 1906. He'd been a member of the Territorial Army and signed up at the outbreak of 1914-18 war. Immediately granted a commission, he became popular with his troops. This film shows contemporary footage of the fighting and aftermath in the area. Having been mentioned in dispatches on September the 19th for his action during a bombing attack in the Guzo Corps sector, Captain Salt won the Military Cross on October the 8th, 1918 for courage under fire, as his mortars routed an enemy machine gun nest which had held up the advance. Military historians are agreed that this was the day that German morale was finally crushed. Cambrai was partially destroyed by the retreating enemy, but Allied troops were welcomed with open arms by the locals. On Saturday, July the 19th, 1919, the Borough of Widnes held a Peace Day celebration. Every child in the town received a souvenir booklet outlining World War I's most significant dates. The recovery of Cambrai on October the 9th is the next to last entry before armistice on November the 11th, 1918. Mr Salt moved to Widnes Secondary School, an efficient mathematics teacher and a very enthusiastic sports organiser.
The interesting thing when you were talking about it to me was the number of clubs that were formed after the First and Second World War. Straight away, St Helens comes to mind straight away. 1919 they were formed. Oral 47, League 48. Now I'm assuming, is it the fact that there was fellas who'd been together, hundreds of them together for so many years, and then after the war settled down for a little bit, get something together where just the lads get together, so we'll form a rugby club. You know? Was that logic behind it, you know, because the number of clubs that were formed after the First World War and after the Second World War is significant actually. So it must be this man thing, you know, where let's get the lads together again and enjoy ourselves, you know.
So in 1924, Mr Salt formed an old boys team. The following year, it became Old Widnesians RFC.
If you were a sporting person, you played cricket, you played rugby, you went cycling, you went camping. They were the things that a lot of men did, young men did, you know, in those days. Good fun, actually, I would imagine.
One of these young men was Edward Gordon Jones, who played for the Wids before Liverpool University, Lancashire Rugby Union and the RAF. He was known to family and friends as Tap.
My name's Chris Stapleton. I was chairman of the Tom Wilkinson VC statue appeal. I'll start from basically towards the end of the statue appeal, when we'd already concluded a blue plaque. There was over Runcorn Cemetery, Merchant Navy Memorial, and next to the Tom Wilkinson VC Memorial and HMS Lydewood, there's a Merchant Navy Memorial to the sailors of Widnes. What we did then, we decided, or as Tony himself turned around and said, let's go for some plaques. Within about 48 hours I found Tap Jones. How I found Tap Jones, I don't know. I was searching this, and as you do when you're going through Wikipedia and Google, you end up looking for one thing and you stumble across another. I'd never heard of him. I don't think you had you, Tony?
No.
No, neither of us had. I said, well, in comparison, he's got knighted, he's got all these honours, medals, awards. He's probably got equivalent to a VC when you add them all together.
But he's the most decorated man in Widnes.
Yeah.
And knighted.
So, and that's the only thing, that we hadn't heard of anybody being knighted before in Widnes. So I said, right, okay, let's do some research into this guy. Stumbled down Widnes Library, might have the two assistants in there, 131 Birchfield Road, doesn't exist. Going through all these ordnance survey maps, no. But then I found out that he actually lived in where the priest house is at St Pius, or to say the old St Pius Church.
This house was the Jones family surgery, and later on, when the church was built, became a home for the priests.
That was it. Tap Jones had played rugby, and I thought, must be the Wids, hoops, tops, and then Liverpool University. Well, he must have played rugby union. So, came up to the Wids, asked for a committee member. John immediately got back to me the following day, after I sent in the photograph. This is him. And it was a young Tap Jones, aged 17, on the very end of a team photograph. And you'd swear there was no difference. They both look exactly the same, probably 20 years older, I should say. And that's how we managed to link the Wids to Tap Jones.
Tap Jones literally flew in the face of pressure to follow his family's chosen profession. His three brothers gained prominence in medicine, one with London Port Authority, a second a pioneer in intensive care, and the third with tube alloys during World War II as part of the atomic bomb project. Setting aside thoughts of becoming a vet, Tap Jones joined the RAF in 1935. He had a lengthy, glittering career, gaining a string of letters after his name and a Sir before it. World War II saw him on several fronts. The most significant was possibly his spell as commanding officer of a squadron of Gloucester Gladiators in Greece. On the 28th of February 1941, he led these biplanes in what was recorded as the RAF's most successful day of the Greek campaign. He was awarded an immediate Distinguished Flying Cross, which was followed by Greek DFC in December. He personally shot down 5 Italian Fiat CR-42s. The rest of his war years took him to Egypt, Palestine, Cyprus, Rhodesia, France and Holland.
Also, while we was here, John was sort of like pushing and persuading me and Tony to go for a bit of an Alfred Salt plaque, I think. So we said, we'll honour the two. They've both done equally honourable things, so yeah, we'll go for the two. And that's how the Wids came across having 2 plaques.
Al Salt's lengthy obituary in the Widnes Weekly News revealed he was a committee man at Widnes Rugby League and Widnes Cricket Club. Tap Jones travelled rather further afield, and he got his obituary in the Telegraph. They now both appear in a permanent position on the main pillar in the Widnes RUFC Club Lounge.
Thank you. Camera.